It's easy to get under Donald Trump's skin, but only a select few manage to live rent-free in his head. Among them, Gavin Newsom, Jasmine Crockett, and of course, former President Barack Obama, who just delivered a sharp takedown of two of Trump's biggest recent failures. And let's just say it sparked a wave of angry posts from Trump that we're going to break down. But before we dive in, if you're enjoying the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment. It really helps us keep this work going. Now, before we get into exactly what had Trump so furious at Obama, let's start with the issues at the center of it all. The first comes from Governor J.B. Pritzker, right here.
The president, and let's talk about the press secretary for the president, doesn't seem to understand that it's actually Republican states that have the crime problem. That of the 20 states that have the biggest crime problem, 13 of them are red states controlled by Republican governors. Why is he choosing? In fact, of those 20 states, we're at the bottom. Why is he choosing that over going after a red state that voted for him, rather than a blue state that didn't vote for him? We understand why. He is a partisan. He's somebody who believes in attacking people who didn't vote for him. You know, when you're president of the United States, just like when you're governor of the state of Illinois, you represent all the people after the election. Your job is to deliver for Republicans and Democrats alike. That's not what this president has done. Instead, he's attacking Democrats. He's attacking Democratic states. We're going to do our best to push back. I think I've been doing that loudly. Other Democratic governors and senators have been doing so. But I'm proud of this state. This president does not understand that we actually have a declining crime rate. In the city of Chicago, it's gone down. For example, the homicide rate in the city of Chicago over the last 4 years down 50%. I mean, that's more than most of the big cities in Republican-led states.
Everything Donald Trump's administration does seems designed to be a performance. Now, that's not to minimize how harmful and dangerous these actions are, because the attacks on democracy and attempts to intimidate communities are very real, but at the end of the day, they're political stunts. Trump isn't sending forces into Washington, D.C. because he actually cares about crime. If he did, he'd start by holding himself accountable. Instead, he surrounds himself with allies facing their own legal and ethical troubles. It's all about spectacle, loud, attention-grabbing, and deeply concerning. The same thing is happening in Texas, where voters are being disenfranchised under the guise of protecting elections. Trump frames it as a partisan move against Democrats, but the truth is, it's a cover for his failed agenda and growing unpopularity. Governor Newsom called that out directly, and we're going to break it down right here.
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think he's going to run again?
No, don't give me. Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves the house? So this is serious, guys. This is serious.
So it'll be Newsom Trump in 28.
No. This guy doesn't believe in free, fair elections. He tried to wreck this country. Were you there, January 6th? I mean, he tried to light democracy on fire. He dialed for 11, almost 12,000 votes. Now he's doing it in plain sight. And people say, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. You will lose your country. Again, it's not about Democrats. It's about all of us.
So you're absolutely convinced he's...
I'm absolutely convinced.
2028.
You've seen it. He tried to steal the last election. He's trying to rig it in plain sight. I'm on the other side of giving a damn about people's feelings about this moment. I will express myself more clearly and more concisely because I see the threats in very vivid terms in ways I never saw before. And I see the consequences of not just those threats from the administration, but the actions of this administration, more perhaps than any other governor in the United States, because I've seen the damage firsthand to communities, this economy, our reputation, to our allies, the world we're trying to build. This is simply the most destructive and damaging individual in my lifetime that happens to be the President of the United States, I have to meet this moment. And so, yeah, this has been very clarifying. It's been very sobering.
I do not want to hear anyone tell me that we are being ridiculous, performative, losing our minds. Liberals going crazy for saying that it is a real possibility that Donald Trump wants to run again in 2028. What do we have to believe? What past behavior is there from Donald Trump that shows that he respects the Constitution, the rule of law, our election? Certainly not. And that Republicans wouldn't just fall in line. We saw them vote against the certification of a free and fair election in 2020. We saw them push that big lie for the past 5 years. So of course, they would go forward with whatever he wants, which is why we have to hit back now more than ever. And on two of Donald Trump's biggest failures, Barack Obama is doing just that. Obama turns up the heat on Trump. The former president is stepping back into the spotlight to confront his successor head on. Barack Obama has escalated his attacks on Donald Trump, a sharp departure from his earlier playbook for handling his successor. The 44th president issued a chilling warning about what he called the dangerous trend of the federalization and militarization of local and state law enforcement since Trump's return to office in January. The erosion of basic principles like due process and the expanding use of our military on domestic soil puts the liberties of all Americans at risk and should concern Democrats and Republicans alike. Obama wrote on Twitter, also adding this in a posted video.
Hey everybody, it's Barack, and I am here with my good friend, Attorney General Eric Holder, because we're facing an existential threat to our democracy, and we need your help.
Right now, in states across the country, like Texas and Florida, these extreme conservative politicians are announcing and acting on plans to slice and dice House districts with the goal of preserving their own power while diluting the voting power of communities of color.
They're doing the same thing in Ohio, trying to give one-party control over almost 90% of congressional seats.
Rather than facing their voters at the polls next year, they're trying to silence them instead.
Eric and I started the NDRC to win fights like this. So, if you want your voice to be heard in next year's midterm elections and beyond, help us meet this moment and preserve our democracy.
Now, of course, all of this led to Donald Trump melting down on Truth Social, trying to defend himself, writing, "Charm-jacking in D.C. is down 87%. All other categories of crime are likewise down massively since I got involved. D.C. will soon be crime-free except for you in only 14 days, far faster than scheduled. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Trump also wrote of his failing Republican Party. "The Republican Party is doing really well. Millions of people have joined us in our quest to make America great again. We won every aspect of the presidential election, and based on the great success we are having, are poised to win big in the midterms." Donald, if you're really winning so big in the midterms, then why the need to cheat and manipulate seats? That doesn't add up. And on crime statistics, let's be clear, it's almost laughable. Trump is now bragging about numbers from the DOJ and FBI, the very same agencies he claimed were fake just weeks ago. So when the data benefits him, suddenly it's valid, but when it doesn't, it's all a lie. That's the pattern. This is what Donald Trump does. He decides when facts are real, when news is fake, and expects everyone to follow along. But the reality speaks for itself. You don't need statistics to see what's happening when you have tanks parked outside of Union Station. These are stunts meant to project toughness, but they only highlight weakness. And it's pathetic that he has to hide behind so many lies. The good news? Those lies are easy to expose. And that's exactly what Jen Psaki did right here.
And for what the administration will do to address mental health issues around the country, which I certainly hope they do more. I mean, right now they are talking about targeting SSRI medication, which people use to combat depression. It's a little bit of a bizarre strategy, Brandon. Now, if we actually want to talk about mental health issues, which I agree is a major issue, we could talk about expanding mental health access or putting money toward community outreach programs. Or we could talk about how to combat online radicalization, as it appears like this shooter, like others, was influenced by a fringe extremist and nihilistic there. But here's the thing. Prayer is a powerful source of comfort for so many people around the world during difficult times, including me. I completely feel that way. And what I said yesterday, and will say again now, though, is that prayer alone is not enough to prevent and end the crisis of gun violence in America. It's not. Here are some stats for use by anyone in the briefing room, whether you're at the podium or in the room.
I think Democrats need to talk more about toughness, about grit, and resilience. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm selling a truck commercial here, but the truth is, Donald Trump has acted like the most powerful president in modern history. Not because he's effective, but because he's centralized power, pulling it away from Congress with weak leadership from people like Mike Johnson, and even trying to defy the courts. And let's be clear, I don't say that as a compliment. He's not strong. He's behaving like a wannabe authoritarian. If Trump really wanted to get things done, he could. If he wanted to address gun violence, he could. If he wanted to lower the cost of prescription drugs, he could. These are issues he claims to care about: protecting children, affordability, public safety, but his record shows otherwise. Instead of action, he bends to wealthy donors and elites, leaving ordinary people behind. That's not toughness, that's weakness. And it's time to stop treating Donald Trump as if he's some all-powerful figure. We're going to keep calling it out here on this show. If you want to support that, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you've made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I will see you soon.